Uh, um, quite a bit of things that I can comment on.
Go ahead. Yes.
Whatever that all of you have mentioned, I personally experienced that. So I am a so to be honest, I'm a very practitioner kind of a person. I don't like to just listen. I listen and I think how I can incorporate. Then I do, and I see if the results come to me. I think through my writings on Medium and my posts on Twitter and LinkedIn, I think it reflected that. So all these points that you mentioned, I do have my perspective and as a result of what I do. Marketing as a cost center, marketing as an expense.
Mm.
Truth be told, if you are in a corporation or you are the marketer in a startup kind of environment, you're gonna get it every day.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Now, uh, as part of my day job, I also meet scores of let's say event partners,
Mm.
physical event partners,
Yep.
digital event partners,
Mm-hmm.
people coming in. Oh, we want to collaborate. We can have some brand liaison work going on.
Yeah.
So that we can tag a logo to a logo. And my very first question is, so what? I don't discount what you say, but I'm way beyond it already. I'm like, if you cannot tell me the second and third level of details in terms of
Mm-hmm.
our collaboration and what is likely to come, I'm bored. I mean, like you can say all you want about, oh,
Mm-hmm.
we can have collaboration. You can say all you want about this is an investment.
But you need
If you
to understand what
want to
return.
use the word
Yeah.
investment, I want to know what are my returns, regardless of the
Mm.
time frame.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because in an investment, there's only two things. One, what is my absolute returns in terms of
Mm-hmm.
dollars? And second, what's the velocity of me recouping my initial capital outlay? Velocity. So let's say the very simple metric would be payout, payoff. So you measure payoff by a number of years.
Mm.
So let's say the payoff is 5 years. Okay, what that means is it takes 5 years for me to recruit my initial capital outlay, and then
Investment.
the rest would
Mm.
be pure earnings. Okay, so that's one way of looking at it. If the person that's in front of me cannot explain that while throwing the word investment out, you
Mm-hmm.
lost me completely. I'm like,
So
it's a traditional pitch, but you do not have the details and the
To back it
practicality
up.
to carry it out.
so Aldric, so
I'm
it's
lost. I'm
better
sorry.
if they're selling you on marketing to say instead of investment. Marketing is like cryptocurrency.
No, I won't say it that way. It's just that
It's like Dogecoin.
no, there's always a place, a time, and a purpose for marketing. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, hey, we don't need this. What I'm trying to say is that when we come together to do business, whether it's freelancer to freelancer,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a startup to startup, or whether it's business to business, we have to be very clear of what we are trying to achieve and
Mm-hmm.
what that objective is. So don't just say things because it sounds right.
Yeah.
You never know the person in front of you,
Mm-hmm.
whether that guy is an ideas person.
Yeah.
If you can tell that person is an ideas person, let's say Jeremy or someone who's very conversant, you are likely to pass through.
Mm-hmm.
There's no problem. I think all of us can attest to that. But if you meet up with a specialist or practitioner, your life is going to be absolutely miserable because either they are not interested in what you say because they know that you
Mm-hmm.
you are just so superficial that I
Mm.
can't be bothered with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm.
literally, I cannot be bothered with you, or they will just keep asking you questions knowing that you cannot answer. So the misconceptions is one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think to really help our audience tonight, it's not about understanding what the misconceptions are. It's about the so what. So if you are in this business and you are very frustrated because everyone has these misconceptions, then I think the thing is not to have your grouses over such misconceptions, but how then can you weave your thoughts and your counter objections into your initial pitch.
Yeah.
So people get it right up front instead of the Q&A or behind. Then during the discussion, you are talking about, so hey, Mr. Prospect,
page.
so what does it
Yeah.
take? What does it take for you and me to progress from here? So you take the conversation further.
Yeah.
If your Q&A is about addressing misconceptions, I think 90% you're not gonna get a deal. Seriously, you're not gonna get a deal. So take your learning points and go. That's what I think.
I actually think Aldric brings up a very good point, because when we think about why are we so frustrated with those spammy sales code emails and messages we get all the time, because that's all they bullshit about. Like, anybody can tell me this is going to be a worthy combination, but what is my time frame? What am I expecting? What are you actually selling? Because one of my clients I work with right now, we actually handle
Jonathan, let's stop.
media partnership, So honestly, when it comes down to building a partnership, whether you're the one offering that partnership or you're trying to get onto someone else's program, is you still need to have that sales mindset in the center, as in what metrics will I be looking at, for how long, and what kind of return should I be able to expect, even if it's not monetary return. But the ability to articulate that return on investment is actually very, very critical to anyone in the marketing field as well. It's not just a sales pitch thing.
Just one point. Just one point on what you mentioned, Xiao. I think for marketing, while we are establishing a mutual clarity upfront, matrices is one way to do it. I will not spend too much time on it because by nature, marketing is not very quantitative to begin with. So if you go down that route, it's a slippery slope.
Okay.
And that slope is a slippery downward slope. You can't control it at all. Now, I would say the way that I usually approach it is a 50-50 of sorts, arbitrary, okay? So yes, you have your matrices, but also be very honest upfront that, hey, while we say that these are the matrices, sometimes we may get something outside of these matrices that is beneficial for us. So the original ones might not be the ones that really work for your business and the way we run our campaigns. Because marketing, one aspect of it can be experimental. You try, right? You experiment. So let's say you get into a webinar, you host a webinar. Your intent might be to get emails. Your intent might be to spread your brand awareness, right? But what if you don't get any email addresses, but in turn you get a lot of LinkedIn connections? It's not in your original matrices, but you score somewhere else, right? So during that experiment, you have done something right on something that was unexpected. So this to me has to be a conversation that is a continuous improvement. So whenever I speak to the vendors in my day job, or when I speak to, let's say, fellow freelancers, we are like, we just have to be very clear to our clients that continuous improvement and open-mindedness is very important. We might lose on the agreed metrics, but we may gain something else. Let's face it, even if you don't get emails, but you get a lot of LinkedIn connections with DM saying, I appreciate what you do. Contextualize, not written by bots. I appreciate what you do, and I've also run through your Medium profile. I've seen all your tweets. I appreciate the kind of ideas that you put out. Shall we have a discussion? I'm interested to advance this. Isn't this good as well? Even though it's not a pure and dirty lead, it is, right? So I think it's important not to be ring-fenced by the matrices. That's how I think about it. I recently finished a physical exhibition. I think Kevin knows, Jeremy knows. I'm like, we assumed, or rather the marketing arm assumed, that just by doing demonstrations, we are going to have a lot of leads, emails. But it's beyond that, right? Because when you're there, first, every attendee that comes to your booth, you cannot say no, regardless whether they are going to give you anything in exchange, right? So it's asymmetric. Then the next thing is, if you can see that they are interested, why do you still want to continue the demonstration? They are already interested. Analogy. If I walk into a restaurant knowing that I want to eat fish and chips, please do not show me the menu anymore. I'm telling you, I want the fish and chips. Why do you still want to pass me the menu and say, this is my today's
Upsell.
this is the seasonal blah, blah. I
Is
said,
that upselling?
get me this. We talk later, right? So it's important in that case not to measure by the total number of minutes of demonstrations, total demonstrations that's done, but hey, I can tell he's interested. Shall we get an appointment? What's your email? Send the email immediately. You score 2. You score 2. So marketing is experimental, marketing is creative, and marketing requires us to be very, I think the American saying is quick on our feet. You need to be very quick. So once you identify, you have to score, you have to take, and you have to go. That's how I think about it. Of course, that's the long-term play. Content is a long-term play. Okay, you're not going to like write a super content that allows you to earn 5,000 a month. I was like, I have enough of those stories. I know it doesn't work. I was like, I'll roll my eyes. I've spoken for too long.